you were all going to court to go and help your friend, friendly guy, friendly man person.
Now, is the courthouse made out of stone?
Yes, flameproof stone. All of the wood is also flameproof. They knew you were coming.
Just like, contingency plan in case it all goes up.
Oh dear.
Also, just FYI, I'm not going to be at my computer for a little bit, but I am on my phone.
Okay. So no dice rolling for you. Alright, so, yeah, you went in to this courtroom. That was the building where the death of the last dragon was. And was speaking to Glaucia, was it? Glaucia? Glaucoma?
Sounds good. Yep.
Glaucoma, yep. And she was like, well, you can be the defense for Bracken of Hefenida if you like, the person who served as moderator back in Flint for the big peace talks. And you all agreed. You're like, it sounds like a good time. Sounds like a rad time.
Yeah, and I stole like the briefing that she was going to give us anyway.
Yeah.
We got the sources.
If I recall, though, that brought us some time to prepare because she needed thing.
She needed what?
Yeah, we got like an hour or two.
Of yiffing.
Wait, what?
Yeah, but also the.
You're chopping up lots. I think it's probably for the best.
I think he's saying that we're going to yiff the Minotaur.
Okay, probably for the best that I didn't hear that.
Yif the Minotaur.
Yeah.
I
Now,
don't
so
think I want to play anymore.
come into my yiff forest.
I'm set.
So, we'll fast forward to the court hearing, right? We'll go there. You guys yiff for ages and get to the court.
What a time to come.
Didn't want to miss out on that. And yeah, I mean, you'd found out some information about how she works. That there was some ring of fire, something.
Yeah, and if you lie on it, you get burnt.
Yeah,
Oh, so it is a burning ring of fire then.
a truth ring. Yeah.
Yeah, burning ring of fire.
How did I expect anything less?
Yeah.
That ring of fire
burns.
So by the time Bracken's hearing is called, there's been a few other trials that have occurred today that Glacia's presided over. You'd have all had a chance to listen in and see what sort of judge Glacia is. Most of the things were like tenants complaining about landlords or workers about their bosses, that sort of stuff. When, as each one has decided, you see the outcome of the case, and the floor just outside the rib cage that serves as the courtroom is spattered with blood from the beatings of those found guilty. It's all sort of physically reprimanded by order of Glacia, but everyone seems to be perfectly okay with it.
Judge Judy, but a bit more serious.
Yeah, like Judge Judy, Judge unintentional. Judge Judy crossed with UFC. Like, you're the asshole. You touched your sister's car. You get beaten with 10 rods. Cool, great, goodbye.
As a lawyer, can I suggest immediate execution for all landlords?
All landlords. You're trying to get involved in the tenancy hearings.
Other people's
Yes.
cases.
It's pretty good. Go ahead and roll me a diplomacy and see how well your interjections go down.
Can you roll that for me and
Yes.
let me know what I get?
You got 16. Objection! You're out to beat this man, for he is a landlord.
bet it went over pretty well, right?
The first time you speak up is sort of a few murmurs go around the rib cage. Oh yeah, no, it's got a good point. Can't really argue with that one. And one of one of the landlords is summarily beaten, not executed, unfortunately. But you know, the second and
Involved in the case.
yeah, it's just a landlord that's come to be like, hey, I'm here to get my rent arrears, and he's beaten.
Good.
Second and third time you speak up, however, Glacier gets a little bit annoyed, and a couple of the times sort of ignores you, and then the last time you call out, beat this man for he is guilty of being a landlord. Instead, she sort of glares at you and sides with the tenant, and the tenant is then beaten. Sorry, sides against the tenant and beats the tenant. I got it wrong.
Another victim of the bourgeoisie.
Yes. See, that's the problem. You should never speak up.
Lesson learned.
Now, none of you are Vakeshi mystics, are you? No one's Vakeshi background?
What's up, isn't he?
No, he's the Skyseer.
Oh wait, yeah, we don't have any mystics.
Sweet. Okay, so that doesn't matter then. When it is Bracken's time to shine, you're all sitting in the benches at the front of the hall. You're mainly sitting down the back, except for Ryla, who's come to the front to get involved where he sees fit. But yeah, by the time Bracken's brought out, you're moved to the front of the audience here, and you see Bracken brought out from a cell in another part of the building and escorted to the stage. Glacier returns to the room, takes a seat, and explains the proceedings for the sake of all those who are here to witness it. And there's a number of people in the audience. You see a few that look like they're there as media, journalists, that sort of thing, and also just a large number of civilians. And you can hear the murmurings going on through the crowd that quite a few people are pretty miffed. Oh, did you hear this? This Bracken fella's been brainwashing the masses. Yeah, well, we should beat the brain out of him with the masses. That sort of thing. Yeah, the sentiment's quite negative on Bracken. But Glacier explains the plaintiffs will provide their side of the story, and then the defendant will have a chance to state his. Then Glacier will call physical witnesses, then character witnesses. Then each group shall have a few minutes of discussion and deliberation and argument without, she stresses, any physical contact or violence. That will come after the sentencing. Bracken is a man of high rank, but unlike in most countries, this actually affords him fewer protections rather than more. The common folk love the opportunity to see a powerful figure brought low, and executors, which is what Glacier is, so the judges, go out of their way to ensure authority figures don't abuse their powers. Yeah, and the crowd is getting so big at this point that there's even vendors just outside the ribcage sort of offering dried meats and roasted corn dipped in butter and cheese. It's delicious.
I have a question.
Go for it.
This Ring of Fire, does it operate off strictly black and white, or does it allow room for technicalities?
We'll have to find out. Because at this point, Glacier traces a ring of brimstone on the ground, steps forwards from the bench and traces this ring of brimstone and whispers to it under her breath. You can't quite catch what it is, but the brimstone flickers with dim fire. Maybe only a couple inches high off the ground, but it is there, it is glowing, and there's a faint heat coming off of it. She informs the crowd that anyone who testifies is required to stand in the ring. If they tell a lie within the ring, the flames flare and will burn and smite the untruth from them. So, it's fun. It's fun. She offers an example and says, is there a volunteer to come and show how this works?
Yes!
There you go.
Zambro steps forwards, straight into the circle, and Glacier says, "What is your name?"
My name
That's a tough one.
is Trabro.
The flames do not burn you. Glacier says, "And what day is it, Trabro?"
Tuesday.
And it is actually Tuesday, yeah.
God damn.
And so the flames don't burn you again. And then Glacier says, "Now please, I will ask you again, what day is it, though this time, lie."
4.
And as you say, as you say 4, oh shit, I hope it's not the 4th of the month, is it?
Oh.
Damn it, it's right! No. As you say 4, the flames glow bright and leap up towards you, scorching you and costing you a healing surge. As you feel them scour you, sapping your energy, not just physically burning you, but taking your will as well. It's good times. She thanks you for the example, as all the crowd around is like, "Oh wow, that's wow." And you step out of the circle. Glacier says that this proves that the magic is active and works, and addresses the defense and the plaintiffs and says, "And hopefully shall deter superfluous witnesses from wasting everyone's time." And yeah, that's the start. So here come the plaintiffs now, as Bracken's been seated and there's a guard on either side. You see a pair of orcs ushered into the chamber, and they take a seat in front of the audience, so not like a layer in front of you. And they're introduced as Rulio and Foldero. They're stationary orcs. They sit still.
Oh, okay.
Rolio and Foldero.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we find Pencilo.
Pinero?
Or Folio, which is their son. So, the story is Rulio and Foldero had got into a fight after Rulio had spilled his wine. And while they admit they didn't need to fight, they claim that Bracken's crime, that which he stands here accused of, is far, far worse than the minor ruckus they caused. They claim that while they were scuffling, Foldero accidentally elbowed Bracken in his snout, possibly knocking out a tooth. He doesn't know. It was a loose elbow thrown around. And then in a mistake had grabbed Bracken, thinking him Rulio, where Bracken had controlled his mind, stopped them fighting in their tracks. And that mind control is above and beyond any simple assault. It is the worst possible crime in Burr. Stealing people's freedom is anathema to the revolution. We allow this to go on, the plaintiffs cry. We might as well resurrect the dragons and be under their control once more.
A little dramatic.
Rulio also adds that everyone's heard of how Bracken stared down a bear once in the face, and he thinks perhaps this rumor, this story of Bracken's power is maybe just another example of magic used then too, making Bracken not only evil but a fraud. The murmurs carry on through the crowd as they finish their story. Bracken tells the story from his perspective. That's his chance to defend himself, which was just that these two men started fighting, fell into him, and then he was getting hit, so he yelled at them to stop. he initially denies the use of any magic. Glaucia, however, presses. Says, "Did you use any magic?" And before he answers, she gestures for him to step into the circle of brimstone. And Bracken steps forwards and into the flames, and Glaucia repeats the question. "Bracken, did you use magic to stop their fighting?" You see Bracken glare at her, and you know, watching this, that Bracken and Glaucia know that if he admits to what he did, it might ruin his career, his reputation. And then the answers. "I did no harm to them. In fact, I spared them further injury. But yes, I used magic to calm them. Once they passed, they would have been free to keep fighting. I did not steal their liberty." And the audience sort of jeers. The flames stay low, not indicating that he had made any lie. And the audience is, "Oh, you fool, you bastard, you man, person, crappy guy." They're all throwing out.
Fucking scathing. I thought this was a PG-13 thing here.
Well, I mean, he's not a human, and they just called him one. Whoo, boy. Glaucia continues, sort of shushing the court after a moment. Glaucia says, "I'll need a list of powers you have possession of, sorry." And he offers and says, I'm able to speak, communicate into the mind of people nearby if I'm able. I'm able to glean emotions, sometimes thoughts, if they are thought strong enough, from people's minds without their knowing. And in times such as what I stand on trial for, I'm able to calm, moderate emotions of people which I am in contact with. And the audience is, at this point, "Witch, bastard, burn him, give him to the landlords," like all that sort of.
Hey, Arenas.
I refuse.
Arenas might be shitting his pants a little bit because he can do way worse than make people calm.
Yeah. Glaucia continues and says, "And who have you used each of these powers on?" And at this point, Bracken refuses to answer, saying, "I've only ever used my powers to bring peace, never for personal gain." And there's a big uproar, and you see Glaucia scratching on a bit of paper with a quill in front. Seems to be considering that answer quite important. And then she gestures for Bracken to return to his seat. At this point, 2 witnesses are called to corroborate the orc's story of the fight. And their testimony, sort of making an effort to talk up their role in dragging the Minotaur to justice. They're 2 nearby sort of police officers almost. They corroborate that he was attacked, and then through magical witchcraft, they try to say through mind control, but there is an objection that comes up from the defense table. Objection! That is insinuating guilt. They don't know for sure that he used mind control, so please don't make any comments such as this. And it is allowed. Oh no, what's the opposite? Sustained? That's the one, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they say, well, through some indeterminable means, he stopped the fight without word or action. And
I think you'll find he told them to stop.
you call out.
Word.
You call out from the crowd, and the judge, quiet down there. But then Glaucia turns to the witness and says, "So you did not hear Bracken call to stop, as he so claimed?" And both witnesses, no, didn't hear a single word uttered. And you see Bracken very obviously frowning under his face, shaking his head, and mouthing, "It's not what happened."
I mean, isn't that
Are
already
they in the
obvious
Ring of
considering
Fire?
he was in the Ring of...
Sorry? You all spoke
Sorry.
at once.
So are they in the Ring of Fire right now?
No. Only Bracken has been put in the Ring of Fire.
Put the
However-
bitch in the ring!
However, before you call for that, the defense will have a chance to talk to them, and the defense can call for them to go in the fire if they like.
Okay. So not all testimony is in the Ring of Fire by default.
No.
I've got an idea.
As they finish up their testimony of what they saw, so then the defense is cross-examined and can start. And Glaucia turns to the table where the defense is sat, and you know that you're able to also stand in and defend. You've probably had that conversation with Bracken as well. And you have a chance now to ask the witnesses and or Rulio and Foldero.
I got an idea.
Do it.
I have, I guess,
What's your idea, Dimitri?
it's a risky one, but, so, okay, what's the exact nature of the complaint? That he controlled their minds?
Yes.
Okay.
Because mind control magic is extremely not okay, because this country is still relatively fresh out of a very authoritarian dictatorship where freedom is paramount, and mind control is seen as thwarting the immutable freedoms of people.
Alright. Dimitri's going to take a risky move, which may or may not make things worse, depending on how it's interpreted.
I'm keen.
Okay, I guess that I'll take, put Rulio and Foldero into the stand.
You call them up, and they
Yep.
step up to the witness stand.
Alright,
Not in the brimstone, I'll have you note, unless you call for it specifically.
I might ask them to be in the brimstone, just so there's no doubt.
At first, Foldero, hey, that's not necessary, we can answer you here. And then Glaucia says, it is well within the right of the defense for you to be called into the brimstone. Step inside. And he's sort of cowed and, yes, ma'am, yes, Your Honor. And both Foldero and Rulio step into the brimstone to await your questions.
I guess so. I guess Dimitri's going to say, people of the court, the supposition is that because a threat of physical violence was not used, that it necessitates mind control that saps the free will of the person. I'm gonna hand them like a big ass fucking like sword or something.
Okay, as you pull out a weapon, there's a sudden gasp, and Glaucia calls out, "What is the meaning of this?" Wanting you to...
I'm gonna politely hand it to one of the defendants.
And Rulio takes it tentatively.
I'm gonna cast Rebuke Violence on him and tell him, now, strike me down.
And he looks around quizzically, he looks at Glaucia, and you hear from their table, objection, what is the meaning of this? Why would we start fights in the middle of these peaceful proceedings? The sentencing has not been yet handed down. And Glaucia asks you why she should allow this.
I want to demonstrate that there are non-violent means of protecting oneself that do not sap the person of free will. It may limit their actions, but, well, so does binding someone with a piece of rope. So, again, I guess you'll ask the defendant, I'll step up to the Ring of Fire and say, strike me down if you can.
Glaucia says, do as he says. This man wishes to die here in the court. So be it. And Rulio shrugs. All right. And he lifts the sword above his head and comes to strike down on you.
So I guess it's a resistance. But I guess in the chat. Fuck, I might even want to hero die that. That's not very good. I can't remember. It's just a reroll, isn't it? Hero dies.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I cut out. So it's just a reroll for hero die.
Yeah, just a reroll.
That's better.
It's attack. I was going to say, you're attacking yourself. 27, is that good? Sorry, I need to actually find a stat block for this guy.
Generic civilian.
Oh, you wish.
So, I take it that he can't strike?
Well, hit or miss, actually, he can't strike. So, he lifts the sword and then lowers it again. And Glacier calls out, "What is this? Hit the man! Stop wasting our time!" And he looks up. I can't.
I'll say, apart from the fact that you cannot strike me, do you feel your thoughts in any way impinged?
And
Should've-
you see a look of dawning come across his face. And he... What? You're stopping me! And he looks up to the judge. He's doing it too! He's in league with him!
I said, apart from the fact that you cannot strike me, is your freedom of will being impinged in any other way?
He says, I'm unable to do the bidding of the executor. That's... You're placing me in danger with your mind control. And the crowd starts at this point. My goodness, it's a team of mind controllers. What are they all doing?
I thought this might go. I'll say. Well, I guess, can I try and make an appeal to the courtroom that, what I'm doing is no different, as I said, to, fuck.
You can appeal directly to Glacier. So people are shouting out at the moment. Glacier's standing or sitting, watching this carry on. And as you turn to her and offer your explanation, what are you going to say?
I'm gonna say that, essentially that, person's will isn't being, interrupted in any way. It's what I'm doing is no different than, say, a physical restraint. It's like they're still their person, they're still capable of making acts. It just means that pacifists have a way of defending themselves from, people that would use physical violence.
Alright, roll me a diplomacy with a +5. Nice. So, Glacier settles the shouting courtroom and says, in the interest of this hearing, what we have seen here is an example of the defense. Now, I'm not saying whether that this is acceptable or not, but this example is not outside, it is not breaking the law per se. It is in a controlled environment. I will allow it. However, let this not impact on my decision. And she nods to you, and the crowd sort of, oh, this is some bullshit. Mind controls. Maybe they're controlling Glacier. Probably controlling the executive. Bullshit. But The defense continues, and Glacier says to you, I accept your point, and I will consider it. Should there be no further defense, I will weigh it up against the allegations. She looks to the rest of you. Does anyone else have any further defense to make?
Guess
Yes.
you're up, Ryler.
Did I hear
yes,
Zambro as
ma'am.
well? Go for it. Shoot. Start.
Shoot! Don't. That's a courtroom.
Yeah, maybe not the shoot part. Now listen here, I'm but a simple country lawyer. Just started, but
You snap your suspenders.
yeah,
The chicken.
but lawyering is in my blood, as I just found out just now. I'd like to call, what's it? Folder?
Foldero, yep.
I'd like you to stand in the ring of fire, please.
And he returns to the ring of fire. Not with Rulio with him this time.
Now, wait, shit. Which one is the one that said they didn't hear him say stop?
Oh,
that
those are
was
the witnesses.
Yeah, one of the two witnesses, the police officers. Rulio and Foldero were the ones that claiming he controlled their mind. Yeah. ACAB.
I can't indeed. I messed up already. That's okay.
That's okay. We can retcon it if you wanted to call the witnesses to the stand.
Yes, please. I'm not good
Yep.
at law, and I lied.
Yep. So the two witnesses are standing in the brimstone now. One of them looks a little concerned and is. It's hard for him to keep eye contact with you when he's looking so constantly at the fire that surrounds him.
Now, when Miss Glazier asked you a question about whether or not you heard Mr. Bracken say stop, you said no. Now, was that true?
Yes. The fire does not grow because it is true that he said no when he was asked if he heard Bracken.
Fucking stickler, I knew it. Alright. Let me rephrase the question then. Did you hear Mr. Bracken say stop?
He says, at which point do you mean? For
That's not the
I
question I
heard
asked
Bracken
you.
say stop as we were dragging him away under arrest. He most definitely said stop a number of times then. And he looks
When
like
he was elbowed in the
doggedly at
face.
the flames.
When he was elbowed in the face amidst the fighting between the two orcs, and he said stop, did you hear him say stop?
I heard him say, and he looks down.
Did
I heard
it
it. I heard.
not say
I didn't not have to say no. No,
This is a simple yes or no question.
he admits. I did hear him shout something, and stop may have been included. And hang on, we got visitors, so back in a sec. But he admits that he did hear someone shout stop, probably Bracken.
You know what? If the fire was this much of a stickler, I should have fucking burned him already, by the way.
How not a bird?
God damn it, now I've got a dog. Alright, so, he does, for lack of wanting to be burnt, admit that he may have heard some shouting, and possibly, in amongst that, he heard Bracken shout, stop fighting?
So then you lied to the court.
No, and then the flames, woof, come up and scorch him. Yes, I lied.
Then, if we are to believe that you lied, while under oath no less, and only told the truth when under threat of fire, then how do we believe anything you've said thus far in regards to mind control?
He says, I lied about him saying stop because I wanted to make sure he got done. He did the mind control. I seen it. I know those two orcs that never stop at the behest of a man like this. He must have done it. He must have. I believe it. And the flame stays low.
Well, of course, because since he believes it, it's not technically a lie. This ring of fire bullshit, man. But it's still a lie.
About him saying stop. Yes, it was a lie. But
So,
he admits himself. He calmed them. It's mind control.
Well then, let me do something else. You are dismissed, Mr. Liar. I call Bracken to the fire ring, Mr. Bracken.
He jumps. The witness jumps out of the flames. Oh, thank God! And he gets out and he goes off. And Bracken steps forwards, and as he walks past you, he mutters under his breath, "I don't plan to be burnt, Rala. Please be safe."
Oh, don't worry. I think I figured out this ring of fire. Now, this is a very simple question. Did you mind control them?
Yes. I controlled their emotions, and I stopped them fighting at the moment, for mine own safety, and the safety of others walking past.
Well, now, that's the thing though. You don't control minds. See, emotions are not mind control. What you do is you are able to quell anger, but you do not control the way they think.
He nods. Then, by that definition, he looks up to Glaucia. No, I did not control their minds. And the flames stay low.
Now, these two orcs, I'm sure they're wonderful folk, but I do believe they have misjudged the situation. I am, familiar with Mr. Bracken, and I know him to be of good nature, who would never control the minds of another and force them to do his bidding. That is not in his nature, and that is not who he is. He's a good Manitar.
And Bracken says, I know that was not a question, but I thank you for that. And oh, go ahead.
As we have seen, I'm speaking to the courtroom right now. As we have seen, at the very least, one of these so-called witnesses has already proven to be lying because of the, in defense of the orcs, whatever, that's fine. I understand they're friends, but it's not okay to lie under oath in court. Everything he has said is suspect now. He has no idea what mind control is. Hell, he doesn't even seem familiar with the most basics of any magic, so how could he possibly know what mind control is or looks like?
And you see Rulio and Folder at this point getting quite flustered. Their whole case falling down around them. Their witnesses no longer useful, basically. And you see Foldero just getting more and more flustered and agitated as you speak. Go ahead and roll me diplomacy with a +5 just to see how well... Or intimidate, actually. I'll take either. Diplomacy or intimidate.
Alright,
Also, that accent is fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's where the +5's coming from, not the content of your speech.
Oh.
Alright. So with the masterful defense that Ryla has brought to this courtroom, who's to say why Ryla's so good? Maybe Ryla's had a lot of time in courtrooms. The Foldero is just getting more and more flustered. till he can't control it anymore, and he shouts out, "This is bullshit! It was supposed to be easy! He did it! He's admitted it! He should be going down!" And everyone sort of looks over to Foldero as he continues to shout, "They said it would be straightforwards!" And he storms out of the room, or at least out of the plaintiff's area, and goes to leave the room, where Glaucia smacks her hammer on the top of the disc out of this dragon's skull, and two guards step forwards to block Foldero's way. He says, I will not stand here and risk my own neck for this bullshit for whoever... Oh, God. And he's turned around and brought back to the front, where he's still fighting out, and he's shouting out, "They told me it would be straightforwards! All of it!"
Your Honor, I'll rest my case.
And Glacier looks a little bit miffed, but somewhat bemused, as Foldero is sat down, a guard on each side, hand heavily on the shoulder. Glacier says, "I will need a few minutes." And she stands, moves away from the desk to the back of the room and through a pair of curtains, where the whole audience is now full murmuring. There's lots of, "But he did it! But he did it! And it was for good! Maybe mind control can be for good! No, it can't be for good! You're an asshole!" Just going backwards and forwards. People are torn. And after 2 minutes of deliberation, Glacier returns to the room and sits. "I have made my decision." And everyone falls quiet. What's it gonna be? All you can hear from the back is, "Dried pork, 2p a piece. Buttered corn, sentencing starting now, get it quick." But it's alright. Doesn't break the tense silence inside the room. As Glacier says, "In the matter before the court, Bracken of Hefernita stood accused of using magics which control the minds of others. While his intent... Richard, I made a dinosaur. While his intent was noble, it does fall under the decision of this court that he is guilty. In the light of the situation that these magics were used, the court has lowered the sentence from a severe beating to a perfunctory one, to be carried out immediately." And Bracken is dragged out in front, and a couple of guards come out and start like just whacking him a little bit. "Oh, ow, ouchies!" And one of the guards is like a solid whack, and Glacier's like, "Hey, too much, that is enough." And Bracken is sat back down. Glacier says, "I see no reason to strip Bracken's title, responsibilities. I will return Bracken into the public with no further outcome. However, should you find yourself in front of this court again for matters such as this, I will not be so lenient." And Bracken offers a bow of thanks, looks to you all, bows to thank you, and makes his way out of the room. Everyone sort of goes to stand at this point, and Glacier smacks the dragon head again. "Hold! Another matter has come to the attention of this court." And everyone looks around confusedly, and you just see Foldero's head drop. "The two plaintiffs, who so clearly sought to besmirch Bracken that it appears they have manufactured a scene, wasting everyone's time, the defendants, their own, the people of Burr, and most importantly my own time. To you, I sentence a moderate beating, to be carried out for the next 7 minutes." And he, no, It could be worse. But they're jacked out in front and are beaten for several minutes. And people that are trying to leave, the guards are like, you must witness this. Glacier gets bored at about 2 minutes, stands up and leaves. And for the remaining few, you awkwardly watch these two orcs moderately beaten in front of a crowd of people before they stop, are told to leave, and everyone else is able to go.
Ryla, that was amazing. I am very impressed. You may be a pathetic example of a police officer, but as a lawyer, you are outstanding.
I blacked out. What happened?
As
Bye.
as the trial ends, you're approached by one of the court agents, who informs you that Glacier wishes to see you before the afternoon court starts.
Well, I guess we go see.
Yeah.
Before you do, you spot Bracken outside the building that served as the courthouse, and he waves you over, getting your attention. My friends, Ryla, a stupendous defense. Dimitri was also good. That was great. Thank you so much. I saw what you're going for, Dimitri, and I really think perhaps it's going to pave some way to open their mind to... And he sort of stopped himself, unintentionally, not open their mind, but broaden their horizons to accepting more progressive magics. Seeing the use of powers that we both contain. And he claps you on the back, Dimitri. I thank you for putting your own life on the line. I'm sure you were aware you put yourself at risk of a moderate to severe beating as well. And I thank you for it.
It's alright. It's no worse than the Ryla's given me.
He nods. Of course. I must thank you all for being there to defend me. I'm sure I would have made a pig's ear of it myself. Now, are you busy? Can I take you out for a drink?
Apparently, Miss Glaucomer wishes to see us, but after that, I am sure fine.
This glaucoma.
Bracken nods. I understand. Perhaps you can meet me afterwards?
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic. Well, there's only one tavern in all of Seabriga that's worth drinking at, so meet me at the balls when you're done with Glacier.
Also,
Wait, what?
It's called the balls.
Okay, just double sure I heard that correct.
Yep, the balls.
by the way, Bracken, be careful that no one tries to engineer a situation to make you use your powers. I get the feeling that they saw this as a setback rather than a defeat.
He nods. I will avoid keeping my head out. While I am somewhat innocent of the crime I've charged with, public opinion is not so easily swayed. I fear my name is still tarnished, even if Glaucia stated there was not the intention of her sentencing. I appreciate you looking out for me as well, Dimitri. But I'm off to the balls. I'll see you shortly.
Make sure and work the shaft.
He looks at you with a raised eyebrow. I don't understand the reference. But I won't probe your mind to figure it out. He smiles and leaves.
So, Dimitri, you think if I retire, you can put in a good word for the, the bar association?
Absolutely. It seems like you were made for this. Would also mean you'll stop being a terrible policeman.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a win-win situation.
So, as you make your way to Glacia's chamber, you're greeted by a couple of guards who usher you in, telling you that Glacia has only 15 minutes before she's due back in court, but it was an important meeting. She wished to see you. You step inside and...
surprisingly like children.
No, that's Glacia in the background. You walk in and Glacia greets you and says, I am most impressed. I am confused. For I was told a different expectation, or different outcome was expected, sorry, of this court case, but who am I to argue? You did well. It was easy for me to give him the sentence I did with your masterful defense. And she shakes the hand of Ryla. So, now, I understand you wish to meet
We
Bruce.
said bourbon.
The Bruce?
She nods. We're on a titles as first names basis. She smiles.
Ah.
He calls me Exy, I call him Bruce. It's one of those things.
Oh, it's cute.
She smiles. It is. But you're wanting to see Shantis, aren't you?
Yes?
Well, she pulls from her desk a small placard that's been recently carved, and a wax imprint has been filled into one of the divots that's been carved into the front of it, stamped with her seal, and says, "This will get you into the summer court. Its twin, I've already given to the Gia woman. You must beat her there. And in giving you this, I am ensuring that when you are a higher rank than her, you put in a good word for me, yes?"
Of course.
She smiles. I cannot wait to treasure a golden ring of my own.
Oh, she's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
She says, "Oh, go ahead."
No, I just totally forgot we were pretending to be obscurati.
Oh, yeah. Did you? This would not have made sense to you at all then.
And I was like, oh, yeah, alright, yep.
Now, I have seen to it that you will have sturdy horses and a carriage to carry you down the Monument Road. The Monument Road is the highway that leads to the Summer Court. It's known as Monument Road for the hundreds of statues that line it, each representing a different ally of Verde Bruce at the founding of Burr. She offers a little bit of history, talking a few minutes. It's pretty boring, but towards the end you get a little bit of information that seems interesting. The 5 monuments nearest to the gates of Sierbriga each have a shaded park surrounding them. It says, and each of them, as you well known, depict the leaders who unified the 5 major races of Burr. Cavallo de Guerra, who united the Orcs.
Kev, what now?
Cavallo de Guerra.
I'm gonna change my name to that now.
That's not supposed to have an S on it. Sorry. Shantis, who united the Minotaurs. You are going to see. H, who united the Lizard Folk. Lenachita, I think. Is it? I don't know how to double L's. Who united the Goliaths. And Giba.
Yeah, that's correct.
Giba, who united the goblins. And she smiles. The 6th park has an empty stand for a statue, which is dedicated to El Extraño, who united the kobolds. But we all know that kobolds don't exist.
Oh,
Poor kobolds.
I've gotten a new appreciation for kobolds.
Now, that's it. She says, do be off, and once again, remember, Executor Glaucia. That's who you put in the word for. How soon do you think I can... I mean, I don't mean to presume, but how soon would I hear back? But you know what?
I'll let Rylar go.
No, go ahead, Dimitri. It's all good.
Nah, you're the better at the bullshitting than me.
Oh, I definitely would say that. I just get lucky sometimes. Yeah, you know what? Don't you worry, Executor Glacia. By the time we're done, you're gonna have your very own lantern, not just a ring.
Her eyes go wide. A lantern? What does... Well,
Don't call us, we'll call you.
perhaps I should travel with you. If it's gonna be such a big deal, maybe I should be there.
No, trust
Just
me.
so there's no confusion.
Don't wanna
You
see-
want this time to put the good word in first. It is... Yeah, we need to pave the way.
She smiles. This is great. Ah, fantastic. It's all coming true. I will be able to finally take revenge on the gnolls that attacked my village.
Hey,
Once I've got the backing of the Ob. Ah, wonderful.
You're not a Knoll Trial, bro. It's okay.
I know, but
She smiles. The
Can you
cult
do a
of the
little
Steel
Knoll
Lord
pose real
will
quick?
never, ever be this powerful. She's excited.
I feel kind of bad now.
You don't have emotions. Don't lie.
Wow. I mean, true, but wow.
would banging her before we leave help?
Listen, after we come back.
Now, as she's talking to you, specifically Orzov still exists and is a Sky Seer. Glaucia poses a question to Orzov and says, I understand... Well, actually I don't understand. I'm curious about the nature of prophecy and whether future events are predetermined. And I'm assuming, and I'm apologizing on behalf of Orzov if he's not agreeing with this, but I'm assuming he'll answer, yeah, absolutely, prophecies totally exist. And she requests that someone tell her a vision of her own future. Just so she'd be able to prove her freedom by denying it.
I don't think
It is
any
a
of us have those
version of-
powers. Does Trabra get? I mean, does Orzov get those sort of powers with his prestige?
He
Or,
gets
Paragon?
prophecies. He gets to do a Skyseer vision. He gets to ask up to 3 questions about the near future.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
That
I'm
is
assuming. Yeah. He'd probably do it. Would.
I'll ask him outside of the game, but it's not going to change anything now, but we can revisit what he says to her and her response. Like, she's not gonna be like, oh, well, then suddenly I'm not going to allow you to take the carriage and go down the road, fuck you!
I mean, Aranis can wing it, right? He's like a super magical elf. Just let him take care of it.
And Orzov will take her into a side room and perform a vision.
Hold on, Dimitri can give her a prophecy. We
Oh,
don't
yeah?
need to worry about anything. World's going to win.
You have a lot of faith in us.
So I got kids screaming, telling him to get outside with the blooming dog. Right. So, well, anyway, she looks at Dimitri, and as Dimitri offers the world's going to end prophecy, she says, I'm after a more specific, personal one. I understand eschatologists
All right.
have a...
Your life is going to end soon, along with everybody.
She... dwarfs. And with that, after Orzov offers her a prophetic vision, which we'll see if he wants to another time, you're able to set off onto Monument Road in this crappy carriage. As you start to leave... Oh, actually, is there anything you want to do in Seabriga? Did you want to go and see Bracken? I didn't... It's just fucking railroading you out of town without seeing him.
Yeah, just stand him up at the ball.
Let's go check out the balls.
Let's go balls deep.
So you go to Bracken to check out the balls.
Yep, gonna go check his balls.
Alright, you arrive at the balls, and you quickly figure out why it's named that. This bar is directly hanging under a a pelvis and a tail of a dragon against a building. It's similar to the courthouse in which the skeleton of the dragon makes up part of the building structure. However, this is sort of a hole-in-the-wall pub hanging under the pelvis of the dragon. And there has been 2 obviously fake balls hung from the center of the pelvis. Nailed into which you see the signs.
This dragon's got truck nuts?
Yep.
I see.
Nailed into the nuts is a sign that says, "The balls, the grottiest place to drink." And you see a number of people sitting around drinking tankards of ale and mead and all sorts of other drinks. And you see Bracken sitting at one of the larger tables. Bracken doesn't notice you until you get close, when he calls out, "Ah! Lads, ladies, you found the balls!" And he gestures to the top, and then gestures to the table. "Sit, please."
Are there ladies in our party?
Zambro's a lady.
Oh, that's right.
Zambro's a mess.
Zambro's a mess.
Zambro is a mess.
So, great.
So you sit down and converse with Bracken, and the first few minutes are just discussing how good Ryla, Dimitri were at his defense, and how thankful he is you're all here. And then it comes... So, I know you spoke with Glacia. What is it that you discussed?
She is very, very stupid.
He nods. And unfortunately, stupid people in positions of power can do a world of damage. Drop.
It's
Very, very subtle.
so topical.
Try to remember, but he's definitely, he knows about the obscurati and shit, doesn't he? He was fairly involved back in...
Yep.
Back in,
He had read the minds of the GEs back in Flint. That was how he knew about one of the attacks that was coming.
Yeah, so I guess we'll tell him that, she's kind of a useful idiot for the obscurati, and that she's trying to rise up the ranks to take revenge on some knoll.
Yeah, and she gave us basically an invitation to go meet the Brews, and she thinks we're gonna put a good word for her, get her a fancy ring, new magic, shiny blue lantern, all that
I guess
stuff.
the implication of this is that the bruise is also ob, which is a little troubling.
Yeah, it is.
Well, from what you understand, the bruise isn't so much ob as the bruise is protecting Tinker Oddcog that the ob is also after. And the ob, or Gia in this circumstance, is trying to grease up the bruise or get access to Tinker Oddcog. And
Okay,
you're
so
trying
it's
to
not a
beat
case
them
of
there.
we're asking. So we're kind of asking the bruise for a promotion, but that's more so that glaucoma would be more useful to the ob.
No, so...
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Glau-
Who
yeah.
does she want us to put in a good word with?
Well, she thinks you're also Obscurati, but are like, say, competing managers going for a promotion, and she's helping you to make a good word for her.
Oh, yeah, it's just so it's really so she's not expecting us to butter up the bruise. It's more a case of scratch my back while I scratch.
When you become boss of the Obscurati, put in a good word for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Hey, you can talk up to the bruise as well if you like. Just fix her whole life.
I mean, she doesn't seem bad.
She's pretty corrupt.
Like super duper corrupt.
Well, who isn't? We're corrupt. We're corrupt as
And
fuck.
This is true.
she's also
I don't think
dangerously
Uranus
stupid.
is, but
Quiet, Uranus. No one asked you.
You're corrupt by association.
Yeah. I mean, you rejoined the most corrupt cops. You helped us, by.
Though you say most corrupt, you're the one letting prisoners out in exchange for details on how to make ammo.
I mean,
Wasn't just a prisoner, it was also the love of his life.
yeah, so it's fine.
It's not corrupt if it's for love.
Uranus tacitly approved by taking the paperwork that we signed Dimitri's name. So, guilty by association. And Dimitri's well-meaning, but he's obviously becoming way, way more of a less uptight. I won't finish that, but he's a wonderful guy. Don't get me wrong. I love him like he was my own brother. I beat the shit out of him if he asked me to.
Beat the shit out of him like your own brother.
Exactly.
oh man.
But all I'm saying is, we're in fucking Europe, Steam Age, whatever. Everyone's fucking corrupt. She just wants revenge on the gnolls who killed her village.
You'll just want to uh you'll just want to fornicate with her, don't you?
Matters of the heart aside.
Do we need to put you in the ring of fire?
Rings of fire aside. She just wants some revenge, don't we all? I mean, isn't that what we became police officers for? Revenge?
Don't
against
tempt
poor
me.
people?
Uranus wants revenge on you, asshole.
I'm just saying. Yeah, she's with a bad crowd, but the Obscurati has ways of manipulating people. We saw that.
Yeah, we pretend to be obscurity and have no problem manipulating people.
Exactly.
Honestly, she seems like she's probably a useful asset at this point. I mean, if she's this easy to compromise, having her in the obscurity is probably a good thing for.
Yeah, and worst comes to worst, she can be an asset for the RHC, as in, like, you don't give her good information, you give her, like, false information. That way, when she leaks it, we can, figure out things easier. I haven't fully thought it through, but I'm saying it. And that's all that matters. That I say it with confidence.
Oh boy.
Oh well, so yeah, I guess we just party with Brackus for a bit.
Yeah, it's been a bit of time. Now, you obviously you shared that you think Glacier's an idiot. Do you share anything more of her conversation with Bracken? Was there anything you particularly don't want to discuss, I should say?
I can't think of anything too much. I think it's worth mentioning like the Knoll thing. Like, see if he's like has any sort of knowledge about what that could have been, or if there's anything if there's more story behind.
Any sort of knowledge?
Ho, ho. As you mentioned that she said something about Cult of the Steel Lord and getting revenge, he gets a bit somber in mood. You guys are 5-6 beers deep at this point, so it's that moody emo moment. And he says, "Well, she does have a heartbreaking history. Glaucia, she joined the Executors 15 years ago, after Knowles and the Cult of the Steel Lord attacked her village, tried to kidnap the children to convert them. Her mate died in the fighting, and she alone was cornered with her pups. When the leader of the raid party reached out for her youngest son, Glaucia stabbed the boy in his heart, her own child, and vowed that her family would die before it would be made slaves. The raid leader, it is said, didn't know what to do, as she placed the knife next to her sickened child's throat. It is said the raiders let her family go with the justification that she would tell of the cult's might, but perhaps they were just confused at such strong will. Since then, Glaucia trained herself and her surviving children to defend themselves. She then pledged herself to the Executors and was bestowed with divine power. Among the notoriously hierarchy-adverse sisterhood of the Executors, Glaucia is now the most respected, famous for her piercing blue eyes and lack of sympathy for those who let themselves be controlled. It's why she is so fervently defendant of mind control magics."
So this cult is a big problem. They how does Burr react to them? They try to stamp it up.
The Cult of the Steel Lord. Well, it is said that they don't exist in the force that they did once before. What?
Do you guys tragic backstory?
Roll me. Sorry, I'm just telling a child off for interrupting me mid-sentence. I had to beat him to death. He'll be quiet now. Yeah, just it's a perfunctory beating. Get out of here. Go ahead and everyone can roll me history and see what you actually know about this Cult of the Steel Lords, or if Bracken needs to inform you.
Holy shit.
Holy Uranus.
Yep. Knowledge skills, baby.
So, the Cult of the Steel Lord, Uranus, are a faction of gnolls that refused to ally with the rest of Bear under Verdi Bruise, which was the leader who united them, and spent decades, if not centuries, encouraging other tribes to resist. For 2 centuries, it's said they lived on this 50-mile long sliver of land off the southeastern coast of Burr, which, if you check your land map, you'll see the arrow pointing to that island. It's called the Island of the Seals, named for the massive population of seals that nest on its shores. The Cult of the Steel Lord believes humanoid races are unworthy to wield metal, and that if they're pure, they'll become as strong as steel. They what they couldn't do from actively recruiting, they did instead by raiding all throughout Burr, as Glacier experienced, stealing the young and converting them to the cults pretty quick.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So there are a bunch of gnolls, but they also abduct non-gnolls as members.
Well, Glacier's a gnoll.
Oh.
I thought she was an orc.
No, the orcs were the guys that did the thing.
Oh, wait, she's
Okay.
Now,
Those are
knowing
the-
that she's a knoll, do you want to fuck her less or more, Rylar?
Are they related to hyenas?
I mean, yes.
Oh,
So
yeah,
she'll
they
be
got that
fucking
out.
you.
Yeah.
Are you just picturing that she might have an awful laugh while you're in the set?
No, I'm picturing that female hyenas have a pseudo penis.
Sexy. So,
Word, that's a yes.
Gosh. Yeah.
so yeah, sorry, there's the NPC card. I thought I had shared it already, which would have made it clearer.
Did.
I thought I did. I might not have. Probably didn't.
I think that's the first time I've seen it. But
Yeah,
it's all
I
right.
can't see
I
anything in the
forgive
in thing. But yeah,
Wow, Spy, way to go.
I'm the worst, eh? So yeah, that's a little bit. When they first formed, there were rumors of the cult of the Steel Lord being led by a dragon, but you know, as time's gone on, it's obviously just been rumors. The dragons are all dead, don't you know? But the dragon was known as Gradiox.
Dun, dun, dun. Granny X?
Gradiox. Oh, Gradiox, sorry, that's not an O.
Sorry, I thought I heard Granny X.
Yeah, you can call it Gradiox. You call it glaucoma, so.
It's a Granny X wound.
All right. Well, definitely, I actually did a paper on them in wizard school, so yeah, I'll let everyone know what I know.
Yeah. And Bracken, you know, in this conversation, Bracken sort of nods along and adds bits here and agrees with bits there, and oh no, this rumor said that. But you get the general gist of everything across to everyone. Different nations probably learn different things through myth and history. But that's what Bracken offers about her background. And then he does show surprise that she's wanting to ally with the Ob. And when you mention that she said she wanted to get revenge, he says perhaps she seeks to rid the world of the cult of the Steel Lord. Maybe that's what
Sounds like
drives her.
a bad thing.
He nods. Good.
So you should just perhaps, I mean, it may seem pretty clear she not know details about. Are you thinking try bring her round?
He shrugs. I leave that up to you. I mean, personally, we don't know too much about what the Obscurati's goal is. We knew only their plan to release the Colossus after it was done, but going forwards, well, unless you know more than you've let on, there's little more we know about their plans. We are as in the dark as her. So perhaps it's in our interest or hers to ally ourselves, but against what? I think we need to find that out first.
Man, she'd be really pissed off if she found out she was being controlled by the obscure.
For reals. Could be, if you wanted to break your ruse of being Obscurati, it could be a way to get her on side. If you wanted her as an ally. Who knows?
I'm gonna wait.
I don't know. It's like say she does seem like she could be good as a useful idiot as well. So it's hard.
I mean, it's true, but I think this is about the extent of the use that we're gonna get.
Maybe her kids grew up to be super duper assassin champions, and I don't know. Just making shit up now. So, your conversation with Bracken sort of begins to dry up. Beers don't. They continue to flow freely, but Bracken says eventually, I'm done with celebrating my acquittal. He burps. Perhaps I should allow you to set off on the road. Who else is drunking with him?
Oh, of course.
I think Dimitri's back to teetotaling.
Okay, so Dimitri nothing.
Yeah, Arandis nothing.
Just the water.
Zambro?
I don't think Warforged eat or drink.
Good point. So just Ryla. Just absolutely 2 people smashed while 3 people awkwardly sit and watch them get
I'll
drunk.
order a drink and just hand it to Ryla each time.
Ryla, you're going to lose. Roll me 1d3.
Okay. How do I do that?
Just roll a d6 and divide it by 2.
Oh. I got an AFK for like 10 or 15 minutes actually.
That's right. I think we could probably finish up earlier anyway. But do this first.
I rolled a 2.
That was a d4 you just rolled.
I don't care. I'm gonna take that too.
There you go. I got him.
So 3. Ryla, you lose 3 healing surges. However, you gain a plus 15 to damage until your next extended rest.
Okay.
God damn! We should get pissed more often.
It's only the balls,
I will do
bear.
that. All right. I'll be back in 10 to 15 minutes if you guys are even still here.
Well, I think it's probably a good time to end because our normal finishing time would be 10 minutes. And rather than start like another section, another encounter, social or otherwise, probably a good place to finish up. Everyone okay with that? Or do I have to keep going?
That works.
Sweet.